Soon. We got about 17 seconds before the broadcast begins, so just chilling out here, listening to some music, waiting for things to get going. Let's go already. All right. So we've already had 3 keynotes. Big announcements for today have been Atlas, which is kind of social network, kind of application hub. Very interesting concept there. I'm definitely interested in seeing where that goes. And then we had the Atlassian Data Link and Analytics. I definitely have some comments on that. We'll definitely be getting into the recap there at some point. Um, if I was Easy BI, I'd be very uneasy, but Atlassian has a long habit of doing that kind of thing. Otherwise, nothing really too surprising today. Kind of everything we'd expect. Go full screen. Just let you know the purpose of today is to capture screenshots for the last keynote, which means I may be pausing and capturing some stuff as things go along. But I figured I'd add some live commentary. I'm off work now, so I'm watching this one on my own time, which means I want to spend it with you guys. Keynote will begin shortly. Well, Atlassian's been dealing with a lot of technical problems today, it seems. Um, of all the times to have their Jira cloud instance not be working, today is probably not the day. And last time I looked at the status page, it was not happy. Yep, no update since the last one, which was about an hour or so ago, 2, 3 hours ago. All right. Just handling a few things on the side while we wait for this to get started. So to see William in the stream, I wonder what had you excited right now for what's been announced. I know I think it was you I saw on Twitter talk about Atlas, and pretty much had the same thought I did. That's really only going to be useful if everyone's on it, and everyone being on it may not be as possible. All right. I am trying to watch now. If you would let me watch now. Says I am live, but it's not doing much of anything. Meantime, check out what's going on with Team 22 on Twitter. I don't know why everything Atlassian has to go on Twitter, but that appears to be the case. A good crowd over at Atlas. As I said, that's probably the most exciting announcement I've heard so far. And said not. I've got my concerns. Um, community jeopardy or certification jeopardy. I'm not gonna lie, part of me really wishes I could have gone. Just was not going to be a thing this time, but looking at all the pictures, I definitely would have liked to have gone. Here we go. Things are starting. Yep, we're capturing audio. Maybe back the audio off just a hair. This looks like the same graphics I used this morning, just with different music. Like what their third catchphrase is of the day. I don't know, I kind of like work differently together. I wonder what's going on. Imagine I'd be saying the same thing if I was in the audience right now. And we cycle through once more again. Here we go.
Co-CEO Scott Farquhar.
How good was that? It's not often you hear a flute playing in a band, so that was very impressive. Well done again. That was incredible.
We don't hear a flute playing in a band.
Welcome to the Agile and
That's
DevOps
funny.
keynote. We're here today to talk about why you should be in an open software relationship.
Context.
Before we get
Context
to that,
is
let's
everything.
rewind a minute and look at why software is so important in today's world. Now, every business today, as you know, is born digital, or they're transforming to become a digital organization. And the heartbeat of this transformation is the software team. And like the heart that brings blood to every cell in the body, software development teams need to touch every corner of your organization. Now, with software teams at the center of this transformation, it's useful to reflect that software teams are no longer just a few developers writing code in a basement.
Have adopted software
They're
teams.
complex, multidisciplinary teams who also have to work with vast arrays of people across their organizations. Designers don't just work with software teams, they are the software team. Marketers don't just receive the product and spread the word, they are the software team. Product managers don't just come up with ideas and hand them over the design, they are the software team.
Clip of the day.
And it's the same with tech writers, QA, support, and management. All of these roles are needed to ship high-quality products, not just software developers. It's a big group of people who need to be in lockstep, and they use lots of different tools to perform at their best. And so that's why any one vendor who tries to get you to commit to a one true love relationship with them is simply wrong. No one software vendor can solve for all the tools that your teams need, and anyone who says otherwise is misguided. So we at Atlassian understand this, recognizing that software teams need to connect and work with an increasing array of tools. We created the Open DevOps movement, and that's evolved beyond just DevOps into an open tool chain. Atlassian is the backbone that connects all of your work that happens in so many different tools. And today we're introducing some new products and improved integrations to help you stay aligned and autonomous like never before.
I'm hoping someone finally will
Because
talk about
every
Jira
relationship
Data
needs
Center,
a
though, seriously.
continuous improvement mindset, right? So to share more about our vision for an open tool chain, please welcome Justine to the stage.
I don't think I've
Hi,
really met Justine
everyone.
before, but I've seen her
Thanks,
around.
Scott. That was great.
Digitally,
I'm
of course.
Justine. You guys excited to be here? Awesome. I like the energy. As Scott mentioned, it's time to open up your software dating life. So I'm curious to see how many tools you think your software teams uses. So I'm going to start with a poll.
Uh-oh.
Can you help me out with the poll and raise your hand if you think that they use less than 5 tools?
Less than 5.
All right, not many hands. How about between 5 and 10? Still not many hands. Okay, more than 20? All right,
I'd say
there we
that.
go. Awesome, I see a lot more hands. Thanks for that. Many of you might have forgotten or may simply just not know, so I want to jog your memory on how many tools software teams use. Here's a snapshot of all of those tools. The average software team actually uses 25 tools to support collaboration. That's a lot.
I have worked a fair few
An
of
automatic
these.
response to this is, ugh, can't I just buy these all from one company? Consolidation is
Atlassian
often
has their way, you
sold
would.
as a magic fix to this problem. But does a magic fix force you to sacrifice the best tool for the job? You want to keep your talent during the Great Resignation, and you especially want to keep your development talent. And that means pleasing your developers. So what makes your developers happy? Developers want to use the tool they want to use. They want to choose the best tool for the job. So let them. Now I want to focus on the expectations of developers in 2022 for a minute. They're being told, we don't want our apps to go down. Okay, so now devs need an on-call tool like PagerDuty. And then another day they might be told, make sure your applications look pretty. Okay, so now they're working with designers in another tool like Miro or Figma. And then another day they're being told, make sure your code is secure. And then they're implementing another tool like Sneak for DevSecOps. They're ensuring that security scanning is happening on their code. And then another day they may hear, hey, guess what? We're actually ISO certified. So now we need a fully audited tool chain. And then boom, in comes another tool. Software developers don't want 25 tools. But they have 25 tools because they're doing way more today than they were 15 years ago. And they need all of these tools to effectively collaborate. There are more and more jobs for software developers today. So where do you go to track all the work that developers are doing beyond coding? I've looked. The answer is nowhere. It's simply fragmented across tools, which is causing an explosion of development sprawl. That's really painful for your developers. And it's truly not ideal to have unhappy developers during the Great Resignation. So let's recap. We're seeing the shape of software teams is changing. And because of this, software teams are using a lot more tools. And this sprawl of tools is actually making it hard to keep track of work.
I will agree with this.
So today we'd like to show you how Atlassian is addressing these problems. We are bringing in third parties and Atlassian tools together in one
I really wish
place.
I could turn off the closed caption.
So you
It's
can
great
track
for
your
people
value
that need
stream.
it, but I really don't need it.
Phase of the software development lifecycle. And now I'm going to toss it over to Tiffany Toe, who heads up product for our Agile and DevOps solutions.
All right, hand off, another one. This one, I believe, was
Ready?
an hour-long keynote. Like that, yep.
Thanks, Justine. So the picture that Justine just painted sounds really chaotic, right? This huge sprawl of tools,
So,
and then we're asking
as
developers
this
to do
is the
even
setting
more.
up the problem.
How does anyone collaborate in this environment? But every once in a while, when you've got a situation like this that's really challenging, it creates an opportunity for a product to come along and completely change the game. Let's take a little detour. Let's time machine back to 2002 and think about how did we build
2002.
software then? I will date myself and share that I was just graduating with my CS degree. I had just completed an extreme programming class and stumbled my way
I'll not
through pair programming.
Date myself too much.
But
But
XP was one
I
of
was not
many
with any sort
agile
of degree at the
methodologies
time.
that were coming up at the time, like Kanban and Scrum. And these concepts for shorter dev cycles, peer code reviews, and more frequent testing were the fundamentals for agile software development, enabling dev teams to respond much faster to customers' changing requirements. Wonderful, right? Well, we didn't really have any tools yet, right? There was nothing built for agile development teams. We relied on waterfall tools like spreadsheets and Microsoft Project. I can still vividly
2006,
remember
my
the
first
giant
software job,
6-month-long Microsoft Project Gantt
workflow
charts
was a
that my
mess
poor
'cause,
program manager had to
there were no
update
tools.
every time we made a change. Unbeknownst to him at the time, also in 2002, Mike Cannon-Brooks and Scott Farquhar financed $10,000 on a credit card, started Atlassian, and launched Jira. And Jira completely changed the game for how teams would collaborate to ship software. We finally had the right tool for agile software development. But when you zoom in on developers and how they were coding, there was another evolution that was happening at the time. When it came to source code management, we'd moved from single file to centralized multi-file version controls. But as dev teams, individual developers still had to merge all their current revisions before they could commit. But then, with distributed version control systems like Git and Mercurial, developers could finally commit, branch, and merge locally, and this revolutionized how those teams could divide and progress work quickly and collaboratively on big, complex software projects.
Okay, so we stayed with the problem. I think
But
they're
as is the
expanding on
natural
problem. Now, this is a
evolution
weird
of
sales
tech,
pitch.
another disruption came along. Before coming to Atlassian, I spent nearly 2 decades working on technologies like virtualization and distributed infrastructure, powering this huge shift to cloud that we're all on. So I saw firsthand this corresponding shift in application architectures, from monolith to microservices, to take full advantage of the scale, cost, and resiliency of the cloud, all those benefits that we want. But with this shift in the application architecture comes a new set of challenges. That code collaboration challenge that distributed VCS was able to solve, it's just moved. It's moved up the stack into how those software components come together. Because
Okay.
modern software is no longer written. It's assembled. Netflix shared their first decomposition project resulted in 700 microservices. Uber shared it was 500 for them. At Atlassian, we manage over 1,500 microservices for our cloud product portfolio. How do you track application architectures at this scale? And how do teams collaborate on the ownership, the dependencies, and the health of all those components? Well, today, we're going to be announcing 3 things to power the next wave in developer collaboration for the cloud era.
All right.
The
So
first
expand on the problem.
is a component catalog.
Now give the
To
solution.
tame that sprawl that I was talking about, the catalog is a map to assemble your distributed software from all these components. along with information about all the teams that collaborate on those components. The second is a DevOps health tool to ensure the resiliency, scale, performance, and security of those
How the
services.
map works, if
Scorecards
they're consistent with
help you
naming
measure and
works like I think
evaluate
it does, that could be
component health
huge.
continuously, so teams can take action at the earliest symptoms of an issue.
Of course, that's the assumption
And
if
then
they're
the
consistent
third
with naming.
is an extensibility engine to give your teams maximum flexibility for all the ways that they work and the full tool set that they need to use. This engine is powered by
Alright.
Forge, our app development platform. So you can create a fully customized developer workflow experience for your teams. So 3 things: a component catalog, a DevOps health tool, and an extensibility engine. But these aren't 3 separate things. They're the foundation of one of our newest products from the Point A framework, Compass. Compass is
Yeah, we heard about
mission
Compass
control
earlier today,
for your distributed software architecture. Developer collaboration is reinvented again to ensure your journey to cloud is successful. Let's take a closer look. Inspired by the dev portal that we had to build ourselves at Atlassian, at its heart, Compass is a hub for your dev teams to collaborate on the assembly of their software from hundreds of services, open source libraries, a place for them to easily find docs or owners of those components and see the ongoing health of everything that those teams own. And as you scale your engineering organization and these components become widely distributed across teams, nobody can track this in their head, and you definitely don't want to track it in a spreadsheet. So with this component catalog, you've got everything tracked in one place, a single source of truth, so you don't have to.
So interesting there.
Compass is designed to simplify and contextualize workflows, bringing together key information from that huge open DevOps ecosystem of tools into an activity feed on a per component basis. It shows you dependency maps between those components so you can architect new services much more easily. Or help triage outages
for some of the,
because it's connected to your
projects I've had
IT
to
service
help on.
management tool, including Jira Service Management. Compass is laser focused on making the life of a dev team in the cloud era much easier. It also deeply integrates with Jira software, so you can see the relevant engineering work items right alongside the components in the catalog. So when your teams come together to plan the next sprint, they've got a full picture so they can strike the right balance between new feature development and tech debt.
I definitely hope it have some sort of Jira integration. I mean, that's kind of the whole point.
With this massive shift to cloud, your infrastructure starts to look a lot like software, or infra as code, which means the dev teams that write that code need to also understand deeply the provisioning and the operations. Because in this infra as code world, you build it, you run it, means all the responsibility for the running of that code stays with the team that built it. So operations is now a shared sport between the dev, the IT team, the platform team. But we just said managing a distributed architecture is so much harder. And these teams now have to manage the dev and the ops. How do they scale? Well, there's lots of great best practices for DevOps out there. But teams learn them through really painful trial and error. So our goal with Compass is to also accelerate that learning curve. And so to do that, Compass's health tool provides scorecards to codify these best practices. For example, you see here a production readiness scorecard with the PR cycle time, unit test coverage, maybe security compliance.
My biggest question is
Once
this
deployed,
something that's pre-set up so you
use
have to
a
do it the
service health
Atlassian way?
scorecard. So when
Or is this
metrics
something
fall
new?
below that threshold,
Or
teams
something
get an
you can
alert.
customize and
And
make
once
sure it fits
defined,
your
these
team?
scorecards can be applied to any component or set of components and be fully customized by your teams.
Well, There's my answer.
Our open toolchain approach crowdsources this best of breed but disparate set of tools across code, observability, security,
Check a
even
few
docs,
things.
and brings it all into a single pane of glass. So your teams have a holistic view of all their components and their health. For example, let's say you're tracking a new microservice in Compass. And
thinking
security
how
is
we
really
would use
important
it,
to
and
your
I'm-
organization. And now, with
I've got
90% of
questions. This would
applications
definitely
using
be an
open
experiment.
source, open source software, supply chain health is really important. So you could use our partner Tidelift's integration.
I
With the
wonder-
dependency health scorecard, this integration cross-checks the components repo manifest against Tidelift's certified good packages list. So you can quickly see if there are any unapproved packages. Teams can then continuously improve the health of their software supply chain, not just when they're ready to ship. Add the
Honestly,
GitHub
I'd be more
integration,
concerned about
and you've got the Dora
um,
metrics
upstream vulnerabilities
automatically
we don't know
shown
yet.
for each service. Add New Relic, you've got API latency. Add Sneak, and you've got the status of open vulnerabilities. Automated scorecards are the missing link in your DevOps toolchain. They provide the foundation for you to scale from 100 to thousands of microservices. Insights into problems become second nature because your teams are working on the continuous care and feeding of these components. What's even more powerful is that these scorecards underpin a weekly 30-minute CheckOps ritual. So you can take metrics from this chaos of tools and translate
'Cause
them
that's what
into
teams really need,
actionable
is
ways
another
for
ritual.
your teams to improve. Think of it as an automated 100-point car inspection with clear actions to drop into a Jira backlog, the next sprint, or an on-call rotation. Maintain that car, and it won't die on you. The same goes for your microservices. Without looking, quick test. What are the three things? Component catalog, second one. DevOps health tool, anyone remember the third? Extensibility engine, thank you. Every organization works differently. And you've shown us through decades with Jira that extensibility is fundamental to all the ways that your team collaborates. So with Compass's extensibility engine, we're enabling you to customize the UI with extension points in the main navigation, the team dashboard,
So basically,
and
what you're
even
saying
the
is
top
this thing can
nav.
have plugins.
We want to empower you to build new capabilities using Forge and make this your developer experience portal. Fork, extend, customize, evolve into that DevOps culture over time. Atlassian's own portal is called Microscope. What will yours be called? But powering the dev team's ability to collaborate isn't enough, because there's another set of people that are involved before you start the building.
Uh-oh.
Your complete software development lifecycle requires a diverse set of teams that own and define work from ideating and discovery through to delivery and then operations. And this runs in small and big loops continuously as teams iterate on learning what's delivering value and what isn't. So buckle up, because Justine and I are going to take you on a ride through this loop to understand how the open toolchain powers the workflows that drive it. And our first stop is discovery, that critical phase when you're deciding on the why and the what before you commit to the work. Now, work in this phase might include customer research, envisioning with your designers, prototyping with an architect.
Checking a
You're
few
bringing the
things.
team together on the same vision. And this type of work happens in many places: live brainstorming, Figma, Confluence pages, live and virtual whiteboards. And when your company sets its goals for the year, it's often the product manager's responsibility to pick from all these ideas, to map to those goals, and then communicate to stakeholders and the team so they know what to build. No big deal, right? Well, in reality, this can be difficult and chaotic, especially if you have opinionated stakeholders. For those of you who are product
Everyone
managers,
enjoys having to dig at their
we know
boss.
balancing decisions and the impact to customers and the business is hard. You're responsible for the most valuable assets, the team, and keeping them motivated and moving forward. As a product manager myself, I know you're hit with input from a lot of directions. You've got sales and marketing, you've got data and analytics, and then obviously direct customer feedback. And through a process of art and science, you build a product strategy and a roadmap. You communicate it to customers in the market, and you explain it to your team so they know what to build. And through all that, Jira Software is the home for the software development teams tracking the work. Yet product managers use other tools around Jira Software to define what goes into it.
So I'm going to say Jira Align.
Well, that changes today because I'm proud to announce another Point A program innovation, Jira Product Discovery. It's the only product
Didn't they
discovery
mention this
solution
one last
built
year
on
at
Jira,
Team?
offering product managers a single place to bring customer needs into
I
focus.
guess they're actually putting in some
Set
sort of
product
release form,
priorities
though.
as a team and seamlessly move from ideation to customer delivery, all in Jira. Jira Product Discovery, it captures the why behind the work. Let's see how. Product managers can sort and prioritize all the ideas using a range of fields to factor in evolving business, customer, and delivery status information. They can tie those ideas to goals, themes, or even specific teams. Using voting fields, they can get input from internal teams and then seamlessly integrate data from third-party tools so they can prioritize impact from customer-facing teams. For example, measures of revenue opportunity from
No, I'd like them
Salesforce
to actually display the
or support
board
impact
every once in a while.
from Zendesk. Bringing all this data together, visualizing those ideas in a list, board, or matrix view is so important because it allows those teams to cut and sort the data to make the crucial calls on what they believe are the best ways to deliver value to customers. But discovery, it doesn't happen in a silo. So again, the reason why we believe you should be in an open software relationship. By building your software development lifecycle around Jira and Compass in this open toolchain approach, you're enabling all your teams to work from their choice in tools, but with the shared context to make better decisions faster. And that's why Jira Product Discovery and other discovery tools are integrated directly into Jira Software. So with a single click, you can connect those ideas to an epic, and that vision starts to become reality faster. Because once you're in Jira Software, as your planning hub, you've got easy access to views of how development and operations are going via tabs. And these tabs include integrations to other Atlassian products and our open tool chain of partners. So teams can preview and interact with content and insight from all these other tools, giving them context right then and there to move work forward without switching tools. To see this toolchain workflow in action, we start at the top with a goal and aligning our teams around this goal of growing monthly recurring revenue.
Sorry, they're going fast.
From the
with
Jira
this
Product
one,
Discovery
and I
integration,
really need to
we
capture
see an
the
idea
screenshots.
for an in-app promotion of a new credit card, but it's evaluated with the context of the idea's strategic impact and other factors. And what's really important is that this context thread continues as the work is planned and executed, so teams never lose sight of why they're doing something. Meanwhile, back in Jira Product Discovery, product managers can track an idea's progress via that connected epic so they can quickly communicate to stakeholders on the status without even having to go into Jira software. So now that you know the why and the what to build, the next stage of bringing ideas to life are the designs. So I'm excited to announce an upcoming edition of a new tab for designs in Jira software.
You know, I did something
Just
like
like
this
when we
in
brought
Jira
developer
Server
workflows
in 2015.
closer to Jira software with the Code in Jira tab. Coming soon, we're going to add a design tab to bring key design work right alongside related issues and projects to integrate a design ops learning loop into where the whole team is collaborating. Integrations from Figma, Adobe, InVision, and others help teams show and not just tell. Designers can involve developers early in the design process with live designs in Jira. So as they're iterating a design ops loop, they can ensure usability and customer value as a team. I hope you can see why I'm so excited that our open toolchain story has grown so much from the Open DevOps Foundation that we announced last year. Your teams now have 3 exciting new things to look forward to. The first is Compass as the new collaboration hub for your dev teams. The second is Jira Product Discovery as the new home for ideation. And last but not least is an upcoming design tab in Jira software.
All right.
All of these combine to the same goal,
Those are some
connecting
interesting
more
changes.
of your teams together to get better at this complex mission of becoming an agile software company. And with all these investments to bring in the color of the discovery phase,
We're only 2/3
imagine
done with
how
that
teams
circle.
can make better decisions
Or
with the
1/3 done with
context of the
circle.
why and greater fidelity on the designs to bring that vision to life. Now, back over to you, Justine, to take us into the delivery part of this loop.
You actually have no idea how long we practiced on that Top Gun high five act, but it worked. So Tiff just walked you through the discovery phase, where ideas happen. And once these ideas move to committed plans, they become issues in Jira software, where we move over to the delivery phase, the next stop on this ride.
All
And
right.
when these issues move into Jira software, that's where software teams start building and committing code. They bring repositories, builds, security, feature flags, pull requests, you name it, into Jira software. And when all that development activity goes into Jira, the rest of the team automatically gets updated on a real-time status of the development work. And everyone can operate as one product team and be on the same page. So I'm curious, does anyone remember the poll that we took earlier on the number of tools that software teams use these days? I did not tell you there would be a
Yes.
test, so it's totally okay if you don't. All right, I'm hearing 25 for those on the video, which is correct. When you hear that number, it's really easy to think, can't we just consolidate all these tools? Just buy a Swiss Army knife with everything that you need out of the box. So much
Please tell me
easier,
they're
right?
not going to say this wrong.
I want to tell you a short story, partly
Good.
because we're more than halfway through this presentation and I want to wake you up, and partly because I think it'll really help you visualize why consolidating tools isn't always easier. A few weeks ago, my 4-year-old wanted to have a play date. And a few days before that play date, he asked if we could build a fort. Typical 4-year-old stuff. My friend suggested that we buy one from Amazon. You know, the ones that kind of look like this. They're easy to put up. They come with all the pieces. So I'm a pretty epic fort builder, actually. So I was like, nah, I got this. So when the day came for the play date, I got out every blanket and chair in the house, and I went to work. You didn't think I'd tell you about this fort without actually showing it to you, did you?
I mean,
So as I start to build this fort, I needed more and more things. So before you knew it, I had blankets and chairs were strung together with hair ties and scarves, hair clips, a lamp, even soccer socks. My son's friend actually left saying that I was the coolest mom ever, and this was the coolest fort ever. Their words, not mine, I swear.
That is pretty awesome blanket fort.
So I could have bought all of that from Amazon. It would have come in the box with all the pieces. But come on, did you see that thing? It was so small. I didn't get to become the cool mom because I bought everything out of the box. I chose the best tools for the job when I needed to. When building software, you can choose the all-in-one option,
Fun analogy.
which may be just okay, but it feels like a sacrifice, doesn't it? Wouldn't you rather be able to choose the best tools for the job for a truly epic outcome? Last year, we announced Open DevOps, which is a DevOps project that combines Atlassian products with our partners. And when you choose Open DevOps, it gives your teams the ability to choose the tools that they naturally work in and the tools that they naturally want to be in.
I want this so bad.
And then
to
the
be on
tight
Data Center
integrations
and
with
server.
Jira will ensure that
And I know they
everyone
won't,
else
but I
on the
so
team
wanted to be on
gets
there 'cause those
updated
are
with a
tools I use
real-time
here
status of
and-
work. And the best part of this
Yeah.
is that we, as Atlassian, will take care of the complexity of integrating the tools for you.
Unless they're on premise.
So suddenly, managing 25 tools doesn't seem as complex with Open DevOps, does it? All these tools can be automated and actioned on right from within Jira. And I'm not going to lie, we are pumped about your response to Open DevOps. You worked on hundreds of thousands of DevOps projects. You connected millions of repositories, and you deployed tens of millions of times. You also told us that Open DevOps improved your developer productivity by 20%, simply by letting developers automate all of those little manual, tedious tasks that nobody wants to deal with, especially developers. And then it also had less tangible effects, like boosting morale for your development team. And you also told us that you expected to spend $27 million less over a 3-year span by betting on Atlassian and betting on our open tool chain. That's truly incredible. Thank you for trusting us. But we're just getting started.
Of course they are. They've
You've
got
told
a whole
us that
50
there's
minutes
still many
left.
more integrations that you need. And tracking them is still straight up hard. But it doesn't have to be. Think about it. In order to figure out how many tools your software team has, I just had to pull this room with hands. When are we ever in a room together these days in order to take manual polls with hand raises? We're not very often. So how do you do this internally? How do you know how many tools your projects have? How do you know what those tools are? In the coming weeks, we'll be releasing a new tool chain screen in our products. That's what it'll look like in Jira software. It'll help you understand what tools you already have. It'll help you discover
Again, this
new
would be
integrations.
useful, but from my understanding,
It'll
this
help you
is
connect them.
not going to integrate with anything.
And
that's
even
behind
better, it'll
firewall,
help you visualize what tools you do
which
not
is,
have.
at least for my
Where are
teams,
your
most of our
gaps?
tools.
So I want to highlight 2 examples of the breadth of options that will be available to you. The next time your team kicks off a project, just head on over the tool chain screen to see what tools you already have connected. Here you can see that there's a gap in testing, which is a huge red flag. if you want to deliver quality software to production. So once you click into the Test Management tab, you can see a variety of test management apps to choose from. So you can see Mabel or X-Ray, and all you got to do is click on that and add that app to your project. And boom, that toolchain gap just got filled. And you unlock the ability to run end-to-end testing with confidence on your projects. And then at any point in the project, you can revisit this toolchain screen to see if there's any more gaps that you might need to fill. So for example, if you haven't connected a chat app, you can add a communication tool like Slack or Microsoft Teams.
Project will
and
need
then
a chat
once you
app.
connect that, once Jira is integrated with Slack, your teams get continuous feedback loops throughout the project. You can accelerate those critical conversations in context to support the rapid, ever-changing nature of DevOps pipelines. Pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
And with this toolchain screen and Atlassian products, you'll have the greater visibility and greater control over your toolchain in product at the project level. And it'll be given to you in a view that uncovers gaps in your toolchain that can be filled with the tools that you want to use. We
Or
deeply
tools you might
care
already
about our
have.
customers having the best integrations possible and using the best tool for the job. And we want to give them to you in the context that you need in product when you're making decisions. So with all the tools that your teams need plugged into Atlassian, we're in a unique position. We get all of that data that's flowing through our tools around the code. And with this data
lake.
we can connect the work to the people in the org. So I want to walk you through how we're doing this to improve team-level performance. You told us that you need relevant metrics at the very moment that you're making decisions. And you're making decisions when you're in our products. So we've heard you. So with this data, we're actually going to bring in those insights into our products to where you're doing your work. This will give you better access to that data that's flowing through our tools at the right time, right when you need it. So you can see here that the sprint commitment insight will show up to help teams plan the right amount of work and predictably deliver on commitments. And then right below it is the issue type breakdown insight. This will help teams prioritize their work in line with the overall objectives of the project. And here, you can see how the current sprint is actually pacing towards the goal. And right below it, you can see the sprint burn down insight, which shows the amount of work remaining and the likelihood that you might achieve that sprint goal. There's actually a term that when you're cooking pasta, you can take the spaghetti out, throw it at the wall, and see if it sticks. If it sticks, it's done. But really, it's like, how many times do you have to throw it at the wall to see if it sticks? So with this, there's no more need to throw spaghetti at the wall. Put the finger in the air. Take a guess on calculations, because you have it right where you need it. And if you're still not sold, I'm going to try again. Deployment frequency is what software teams use in order to see if they're high-performing or not. Because high-performing teams deploy thousands of times a day if you're a company like Amazon. And you can track your deployments in context, and you can do it across any continuous integration or continuous delivery tool, whether that's Atlassian's or not, as long as it's tied to that Jira issue. And because each piece of work from Atlassian and third-party tools is tied to that Jira issue, we can provide the most granular view in the market of cycle time. And we can do it right here in product. These native insights are absolutely invaluable for teams. To be able to access things like sprint progress or cycle time right into the context of where they work It actually gives these individual teams the ability to learn and improve their process.
You know,
But what if
this
a leader
is
needs
actually
more than that?
pretty freaking
What
cool.
if they need to know what projects are consuming the most time, or where the biggest bottlenecks are in the pipeline? And they need to do this across all teams and all projects in an organization. That requires a different ability. You need to be able to aggregate all of that data, and then you need to be able to run complex analysis across teams and across projects. And you've heard this already today if you've been tuning in to more of the keynotes. They covered it in the opening keynote, but this is where Atlassian Analytics comes in. And it will be generally available as an early access program in our enterprise edition of Jira software coming very soon. So we've covered that you can
That's great for the
improve
largest
performance
customers.
by using the data in our tools.
Honestly, people
But
use
another
it
way
are
you can
probably
do
the
this
smaller
is by
guys, because the
using
larger
the
guys already
data
have
to
something for it.
trigger actions with automation. So I'm going to walk you through a very common scenario that if you're on a software team, you do every single day. And that's shipping a project. In this instance, it's going to be moving a project from beta to general availability. When the work starts, the Jira issue will automatically transition to in progress, which will automatically create a feature flag in a tool like Launch Darkly, which then at the very same time will automatically create a branch in GitHub. And then once that Jira ticket moves from in progress over to done, which feels so good, automation will automatically clean up that feature flag. And at the same time, it will create a release notes page in Confluence, and it'll tag the people who worked on the project, whether that's support or marketing, or product,
I missed that one.
engineering.
Oh well.
And in the coming weeks, the automation engine will also invite
go.
folks who worked on that project to a retro, which all of us in this room who are doing our duty with good agile practices are doing, right? And on the Zoom. So 1 week from today, this will show up on your Google Calendar with a Zoom link attached. That's not all.
Do they have something like this in
will then
Jira Service
connect to your
Management?
Sonos. It'll turn on Return of the Mac and will make you immediately stand up and dance. No, it doesn't do that, but I just embarrassed myself in front of all of you. And you'll feel so good that you'll want to. All right, so we've just walked you through how we can help make an open software relationship work in the delivery phase. When you
We've got,
choose
like,
to put Atlassian at the
less than
center of
10
how
minutes
you deliver
left.
software, you get to choose the tools you want. And we will take care of automating and integrating the rest. Now I'm going to move over to our last stop on this ride and cover what we're doing to support the convergence of you build it, you run it, development, and IT ops teams. Once you push code into production, you transition into the operations phase with the deployment. In this phase, you need the ability to monitor rollback changes if an incident occurs. This helps gives your teams time to triage, figure out who to contact about the incident, and proactively flag risks in the future. And when dev and ops aren't collaborating well in this phase, developers will engineer a solution, and they'll just hand it on over to ops. This approach causes a
No
lot of
context needed.
downtime and a lot of incidents. So let's relate this to the most global language out there, soccer. This would be like if the goalie was only concerned with blocking the ball from the goal and then kicking it upfield, not even worrying about whether it went to offense, because hey, it's the offense's job to get the ball, right? That would result in a lot of failed passes and turnovers. That's not how you win the World Cup with soccer. In DevOps, if an incident occurs, IT Ops needs to know what the root cause of the incident is in order to fix it. And when runbooks are out of date, they waste precious time with their hair on fire trying to figure out who to contact in engineering to solve it. What if they didn't have to do that?
Please be dynamic.
What if they had the
rune
information
books?
they need to
Yeah,
diagnose
I'll take
the
dynamic
issue
rune books
right
too.
at their fingertips? When soccer is done right, the goalie, offense, and defense are on the same page, and they score goals. They win. When DevOps is done right, developers adopt a you build it, you run it mindset. And this forces them to think how the software is going to run in production as they design it. And our vision is to support the convergence of these development and IT ops teams, because they can only build and run great digital products and services if they do it together. So let's Bob Ross this and paint a picture of harmonious DevOps. During an outage, our vision is for Compass's component catalog to surface the information from your CI/CD tool into your ops tool, like Jira Service Management. With this, IT ops can easily find out who owns and supports that engineering component, and they can cut out that last-minute hair-on-fire scramble to try to figure out who to contact during an outage. And with a full and accurate picture of all things service-related, they can get to the right development teams quicker. So together, they can paint happy little trees and make smarter, safer changes and respond to incidents faster. You get it? Happy little trees, Bob Ross. It's a good thing I don't do stand-up. Innovations like Compass, coupled with Jira Service Management, give IT operations teams that richer, real-time information about all the engineering components that your critical business applications and services depend on. And just like that, we've completed the most complete view in the market of the entire software development lifecycle. That is what a truly open tool chain looks like. And then the last thing I'm going to cover today, stay with me, everybody.
I'm trying.
How your executives get aligned with all that work that we just went through that your teams are doing. The simple answer is Jira Align, even in the name. CIOs behind our largest installations need to answer, are we investing in the right things to compete effectively and win market share? Is our strategy working? Did I place the right bets? Are my teams working on the right thing? This is the objective tree in Jira Align. It's where busy executives will head to get an update on how their organization's
I've
goals
touched
are
Jira Align
progressing
since
from the
before the
portfolio
acquisition.
level all the way down to the team level.
Agile Craft was a better name for it anyways.
At-risk and off-track objectives
No, it
can be
has to
addressed
be a
in a
Jira.
way that no other solution in the market can provide. That's it, everyone. The bottom line is, we just showed you how Atlassian is the only one making an open tool chain truly work. And this is across the discovery, delivery, and operations phase of the software development lifecycle. And software teams are just where the seed gets planted. We covered earlier that more and more orgs are adopting Atlassian and agile practices that span out to ITSM and then to the rest of the organization to manage their work. So on behalf of myself, Scott, and Tiffany, I wanted to thank you all for joining us today in Vegas if you're here, joining us from home in your sweatpants if you're at home. And also just do a little plug that if you want to ask more questions about this, you can come into Bellini 2101, the room, not the drink, to discuss removing friction from your DevOps tool chain, and we'll be there tomorrow at 11:15. So thank you, everybody, for coming.
Welcome back. I'm your digital host, Don Price. And during the last keynotes from Tiffany and from the wonderful Justine, we heard about how Agile and DevOps has evolved beyond.
All right, that was the keynote. I think I got most of the things I wanted to there. Now let's get some tunes going on. Maybe not that high. I don't want it drowning me out. Anyways, so I've got 4 screenshots for 4. Got about half, a little less than half of one written up. So I've got a lot of work to do tonight to get these published. I'd like to get these published today. Probably not going to happen. But I'm probably going to get at least 1 or 2 of them published. I'm keeping an eye on what's happening with everything over in Las Vegas with this. I said I really wish I could be there, but because I'm not there, I'm able to be here with you. Adjust some levels some. Anyways, so I'm definitely happy about that. Definitely happy for you guys to join me. If you do happen to be in Las Vegas, first off, why were you not at the keynote? Why were you listening to me? But I'm happy to have you. I do have some stuff going on there. Managed to find a company that lets you do billboard ads. So I have a billboard ad going on there. We'll see how that does. That just kind of tickles me that was available. And yeah, I really like what's going on here with the software side of things. I really wish anyone at Atlassian would admit that data center is still a thing that needs development. It's not sunset yet, just the server side. But so far, not a word on any of these keynotes about Jira Data Center. And that is really disappointing to me. But I'm sure you'll hear more about that at some point here soon. But for their cloud products, if you're on it, lots of new exciting stuff happening on software. Few interesting things happening in work management. The overall platform is definitely growing. The one keynote I was probably most disappointed with was ITSM, because it felt like the stuff we already knew because of the acquisitions that Atlassian made over the past year. It's kind of obvious what these acquisitions were for when they were made, or it's minor iterations on features they've already announced, or just re-announcing the features they announced they were going to develop last year. So ITSM was probably the most disappointing out of all of these, if I'm being honest. Jira or Atlassian Analytics and Atlassian Data Lake is interesting. The business intelligence, the analytics, all that for the Atlassian products has been its Achilles heel. That's why companies like Tableau and EasyBI and stuff are able to come in and take in that role, because Atlassian doesn't do that. So seeing Atlassian step into play and bring actual BI in was interesting. We've got another day of keynotes. Both of the keynotes look like they're just listen to important person talk, which fine with. That's kind of the whole part of a keynote, is always listen to an important person talk. I'm really hoping Atlassian doesn't take this strategy long term, because this is a lot of work to put on people trying to cover this in one day. But a lot going into it. Did you not save all those pictures? As I said, I got a lot of stuff to do. Where did that go? Anyways, I will catch you everyone next time. Expect lots of articles tonight and tomorrow. I still got to work my day job. I've had a lot of time off recently for health reasons, so I couldn't really take off again for Summit or Team. So I'll have to work the plugin around all that, but stuff will get published. You'll have all your updates, and I'll catch you next time.
Thank you.